Here is a story. Yesterday I didn't say a story. Today I'll say a story. Once someone came to the Alter Rebbe with a terrible problem. He owned a big ship building factory, and two of his workers purposely put certain the defects in the ship, and then they reported. They put inferior material, and then they reported their owner saying that he was the one that told them to do it. In any case, they had what they considered to be iron-proof case against him. Here we have two witnesses that were against him, and there was nobody on his side. Now, this was in the days of the first Rebbe of Chabad. So this Chassid, he didn't know what to do. His house was, they sent the guards to his house, and he was told that he had only a week to bring a lawyer to defend him, and no lawyer wanted to take his case. So he went to the first Rebbe of Chabad. So the first Rebbe of Chabad told him, that was the Baal HaTanya, the one who wrote the book, the Tanya. And he told him, here's a picture. Here, this letter. And he told him, what you have to do is like this. Go to the horse market and buy yourself four of the most beautiful horses that there are there. Most expensive horses. And then buy a fine carriage, or if you have one, hook it up to your carriage, and drive to Peterburg. That's where the royal offices were. That's where the palace was. And just drive in front of the palace of the king. Just drive back and forth. And if someone comes out and asks you what you're doing, where'd you get these horses? Tell them that the horses, that they're very expensive horses, and that he has them, they're yours. And if he asks you if you want to sell the horses, tell him you won't sell the horses for any amount of money in the world. And then if he asks him, when he asks your name, who you are, don't tell him your name. So I don't want it. If he says the Tsar wants to know, and the Tsar is interested in buying the horses, then tell him, the Tsar, I'll give the horses to the Tsar for free. That's what you do. Okay, he didn't understand this word at all, but he went down to the horse market. He bought two horses, tremendous price. In those days, a horse was like a car, tremendous expensive. And he brought the best horses that there were. He spent a fortune. Then he hitched the horses up to a fine wagon, and he drove all the way to Peterburg. How far is it from Liazny to Peterburg? I don't know, but let's say it took him a day, 2 days anyway. So you get in front of the palace, and he's just going back and forth for an hour, for 2 hours. Of course, before that, he brushed the horses and he cleaned them, and so it was really, impressive. And sure enough, after about 2-3 hours, there came out a sort of a very respectable-looking servant or minister or something, and he said, "Excuse me, sir, what is your name?" He said, "My name is not important." He said, "Are those horses for sale?" "The horses are not for sale. These are just my horses. I just wanted to ride and look at the palace." "Who wants to know?" He said, "Well, the Tsar is interested in buying your horses." And he did exactly what the Rebbe said. He got out of the chariot, the coach, and he stood up and he said, to attention, he said, "For the Tsar, I will give these horses for free." And the man said, "Good." He took the horses and he went into the Tsar. Of course, now our hero was stranded. He had no horses. He was just there with his carriage, and he had no way of moving. But nevertheless, that's what all the Rebbe told him to do, and that's what he did. So he waited there for about 15 minutes. The same minister came on and he said, "The Tsar would like to see you." So he goes with this minister, and he takes him into a room, into a basement. He takes him into the stall of the horses. The horse over the czar has, hundred or hundreds of horses, and the czar is standing there petting this horse that he just received from this man. And the czar said to him, "I appreciate this very much. The beautiful horses you have, very beautiful horses. Tell me, what is your name?" And he told the czar his name. The czar said, "1 second, that's your name. You're the one that has the ship company?" He says, "Yes." "You're the one that's being tried?" He says, "Yes." "Oh, it's all in all the papers. What is your case? What happened?" He said, "I've been set up. It's all a big lie. My workers, they lied to me, and the judges won't believe me, and I have witnesses against me, and so I don't know what to do." I said, "Listen, tell me where you live. I'm going to send 2 detectives, 2 investigators, and we'll get to the bottom of this. And so you don't have to worry." Meanwhile, gives him a couple of horses, hitches it up to his wagon, and he drives back. And sure enough, the next day, he's called by the police, and he appears in front of the judge, and the judge says, "I'm sorry, it has been revealed to us by the czar sent investigators, detectives, and we have come aware that you've been fooled, that you've been lied. We've been lied to, and they tried to fool us, and that you've been falsely accused, and we request your forgiveness," and they let him go. So he went back to the first Rebbe, went back to the Rebbe's. "Rebbe, it was amazing. They let me go. I'm out." I said, "But tell me, what is the thing about the horses?" So the altar, it was a miracle. It was a miracle. So the Rebbe said it was not a miracle. It wasn't a miracle. It happens to say in the Torah that a judge, that warnings to a king, that a king should not have too many horses. Lo yarbe lo susim. Who is this speaking to? A king shouldn't have too many horses, even to King Solomon, a great holy person. So if a great and a holy person like King Solomon has a desire for horses just because he's a king, so it's a sign that all kings, how much more so, that means King Solomon is interested in God. A regular king has no other interest. For sure, regular kings go crazy for horses. Therefore, I told you to take horses and go down, and that for sure will sway the king to think about who you are. In other words, human nature can also be used to serve God. And in fact, human nature is a miracle. And here we see a case where the Rebbe used human nature, namely the connection and the desire that kings have for horses, and used it in order to free a Jew from a false accusation.